Welcome back. So the short answer here is that there is not an easy way to set up a 5-player game that's also going to be easy to record. So here's my warning for those of you that are watching this. I'm going to be standing up and walking around this table a lot. I do have this little tripod, so hopefully the camera's more stable instead of being in my hand. I'm also probably going to use opportunities between videos to manipulate things. Like, for example, we started the game with $1,080. And here you can see I have $560 left. And you might be thinking, holy cow, I lost a lot of money there, but here's the deal. I got 3 of these minor companies and they each cost me $120. So that $120 does not go to the bank. It actually goes into the treasury of the company. So see, this company here has a treasury of $120 now, okay? And each company does. So I own these 3 companies. They belong to me. And technically speaking, I have a 50% share in them. That's how you want to view it. Whatever revenue they make, I'm going to get 50% of it for me. They have $120 in spending cash, and that came from my personal money. So when I invested in these companies, I basically bought a 50% ownership in the companies, and that was the $120, okay? So there was, 120, 240, 360. 360 of my dollars is right here in this. So then I spent another $160. So 460, that's 520 bucks right there, for these 2 private companies. And so in doing so, see, that's 560. So I started with 1,080. So I should have, 660, 760, 860, 960, 1,060, 1,070. And then 50 is, I did something wrong. This isn't that hard. So 1,080, 120, 240, 360. This would be 420. This would be 520. So this would be 570 and 580, 680, 780, 880, 980, 1,080. I did something really bad because I just got to 1,080 again. So if you're screaming at the tube, I get it. Just chill out. Okay, so I did the math for this plus every one of the players. So here's player 4, De Gaulle. And after spending his cash, he has that much left over, and he started 2 minor companies and has 2 privates. And he's going to go first and third. And as we walk around, I set up player 2 here in the glare zone. So apologize for the glare, but there's player 2. And here's player 3. They're side by side. And then player 4 is down here on the shelf. And I'm thinking I might, once these get moved out of the way, because these are no longer going to exist pretty soon, they're going to get moved. I might move the players onto this because I think there's a lot less glare. So you might see that in between videos where I move some stuff over to here. Now, one other thing I forgot to do is this, which I really should have done off camera. This can be a little painful, but I'm going to, these components are basically all of the minors and privates. So for example, this 2+2 belongs to Lord Wellington, which is down here because he owns this 2+2 company. See that? And so then this K company is going to go to De Gaulle along with the K pieces. And then we have the CC company. B is Medici. See, that's another thing. All right, so let me put this down, just let you see this. This token here is going to go on a stock board. So I'm going to set all those tokens aside. We put those on the stock board, so they don't need to be mixed in here. So anything that has a letter goes to the stock board. So none of that stuff has any business actually being in that baggie. They should have been over with the stock board baggie. So whoever put this away, and it's not always me because we play this game a lot, just put stuff in the wrong bag, no big deal. Okay, so I'm going to start with Wellington. He has company D. So you're going to take these 2 D tokens, and the company gets 2 tokens, and one goes there and the other one goes there. When you start this company and you put it on the map somewhere, it's going to start in a location on the map. This is the one that will go on the map. But right now, they go there, and we're going to do that for every company. So for example, he also owns H and F. So here I'm going to grab F. Oh, and then there's the 2 H's. So we get the 2 H's on, and then the F. And there's another F here somewhere. Here it is. And then right there, you can see the White Cliffs Ferry. I don't believe there is a White Cliffs Ferry marker. Nope, I don't see one. And that's fine, because the White Cliffs Ferry it stays open unless you want to put a token there. And then you would just put a token right on the spot on the ferry. So, going on, we have E and G here. So, grabbing the 2 E's and the 2 G's. He also has this mining company, so they get a mining token. And we have A and M over here. Here's the 2 M's and the 2 A's. And then he has this BB&B company, which is there. So all these other tokens are going to the other side of the board, of the table. So I'm just going to grab them. And we're going to walk back to the other side of the table. Okay, so let me set this up here. So you can see for our companies, we have B here, and then J there, and L here. Now L has an ability. I didn't even explain what L does. You get to add a +1/+1 to any of your trains. So if I own a 2+2 train, it becomes a 3+3. So that's what that is. And then I have this this mountain company here. And so these are the mountain tokens. There's going to be 4 of them. 1, 2, 3, 4. And so we would just put these on the track as we use them. And then I have the Star Harbor. This token I put on the company that owns the Star Harbor, because right now it's just I own the private company, but this is only going to benefit one of my companies. And I can't put it on the minor, but remember there's these majors that we haven't started yet. So I would put this on one of the majors, and so this token would be on them to demonstrate that that major has the benefit of this company. So that's what this is for. And then there should be, this is the actual token that goes on the game board to represent a harbor for me. So that's all of my tokens. And the rest of these are going to Mr. de Gaulle. So de Gaulle's over here. And so I'm going to grab the 2, here's the 2 C's and the 2 K's. And the CC token, again, one for the company who controls it, and then one for the game board. And then, so I missed one. Well, for Mr. Wellington, come back around. His D company has these little tokens that are going to go on the game board, a +20 and a +40. Okay, so now we're ready to start the game. The game starts with player 1, and player 1 is normally Medici here, but remember the first 10 turns of the game is controlled by these concession certificates. And so De Gaulle, I believe, has the player 1. So we're coming back. Sorry for all the walking. So De Gaulle here. Here we go. He has the player 1. So that player would hand this in. And by the way, this is also one of the 2 trains that goes into the pile over here. So after he used this, you would put this over in the pile. But anyways, he's player 1. And so what he gets to do is he has several choices. And I'm going to put this down. Choice number 1 is he can start a regional company, which will eventually become a major. That's what these are. Okay? They are in all kinds of places on the board. And we can review those really quickly, but that's one of his choices. And it's an excellent choice for, the reason you want to go first is to start one of these. I don't think you want to go first for any other of these options. His second option is he could pass, which is a horrible option. He spent money to go first. So last thing you want to do is pass. The third thing he can do is he can start one of his minors. So what do I mean by that? So his minors are C or K. And if you recall, this major here, this OU, has an exact starting point on the game board. And that starting point is right here in France. So if he wanted to start the OU company, he starts at that exact location. He doesn't get to start anywhere else. The regionals and the majors have very specific locations on the board. Okay, but the minors don't. He can start a minor anywhere. So let's say he wanted to start this C company here. This C company can go to any city on the board that is not a starting location. So like that's a starting location for another company. He cannot place this on a starting location for another company. And there's also certain red zones that he can't place this on. It's the red zone that has, that are considered metropolises. He's not allowed to start there. But he can start on a red zone that's considered a Y city, like a grand city. Okay, so these minors can go anywhere in the entire board. And so that makes them a little powerful. But remember, minors are restricted. So if I start a minor in Spain, that minor is restricted to Spain. He only has track rights there. Now, there's another limitation, and that is we have these tokens. So what this is these are track rights for Spain. So let's say I want to start a minor here. Then what I would do is I would take one of these track rights and I would put it on my minor right here where it says there's a track right spot. So I'd actually put it there and see how it says track rights $10. So I would have to pay $10 out of the company money for track rights to go into Spain. And that's the only country that I would have track rights for. So that's how starting a minor works. And there's only, if you notice, there's only 2 of these for Spain. So once 2 minors are started in Spain, nobody else can place a minor in Spain. So minors are a first come, first serve situation. And you will see people early on placing minors because these are limited. And once both of them are gone, and if you wanted to come into Spain, you're out of luck. There's not a thing you can do. So if you have a specific place you want to put a minor, that is one of your things. You can start a major or a regional. I call them majors because they eventually become majors, but they're a regional at this phase of the game. So you can start a regional, you can start a minor, you can pass. And then the fourth option, which is not available yet, is you can buy a share of stock. Okay, you can't buy stock until all 30 companies have floated. And what does floating mean? Floating means somebody has started all 30 companies in the game. Okay, so we cannot buy shares of our own stock or somebody else's stock until all 30 companies have been floated. And I think the designer put that in place because people can just spend money on other people's stuff and then the game never actually starts. You need all 30 companies in the game in order for the game to really get going. Now, that hurts the Medici strategy because he wants to invest in other companies. So he has to figure out what earth to do. So that's why he is going to start some companies and etc. But right now we're on De Gaulle. And I'll explain how these miners work when somebody actually starts one. But De Gaulle goes first. And De Gaulle, aptly named, is going to take a French company. So let's talk about the companies. And again, I need to walk around the table. These are sorted by their country. So right here we have two Austria-Hungary companies, MAV and SB. Great Britain has GWR, Lawnmower, and GSWR. And I know this is not actually a lawnmower, but that's what we call it, and you're going to have to get used to it. Spain has three companies, RCP, which is really Portugal, MZA, and